Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with men's cross country coach Brandon Spalding, football captain Charlie Nelson, and women's swimming captain Abigail Stearns. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee athletics. Football remained atop the ODAC standings with a 52-7 home win over Hampton-Sydney. Men's soccer down Randolph 2-0, and women's soccer played to a 2-2 draw with Virginia Wesleyan. Field hockey defeated Eastern Mennonite 6-1, while men's and women's swimming both recorded wins over Randolph-Macon. And volleyball split a pair of matches in Newport News, falling 3-0 to 20th-ranked Christopher Newport before rebounding to sweep Penn State Harrisburg for head coach Brian Snyder's 500th career win. With me in the studio is men's cross-country coach Brandon Spalding. Brandon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy.
WNL closed out the regular season by placing fourth in a very deep, very talented 32-team field at Oberlin. How can you build off that performance as you get ready for the conference and regional meets?
Well, the Oberlin meet gave us a lot of confidence. The day overall, we just ran average. We didn't have anything bad happen. We had some good, but overall, we assessed it as average. But the confidence I mentioned, I think that's going to help the guys, is that we competed in a very challenging field and we ran an average day and we still came away with a fourth place finish. I think it shows the level of talent we have on the team and how we're progressing this year. And I think that confidence is only going to help us later in the year.
Last week, the Generals appeared in the national poll for the first time in program history. What does that recognition mean to the program?
Well, it's always nice to be recognized for hard work. It's not just this year's team, but it's even the guys who have graduated in the past few years to getting the team to this level. It's nice to be listed on that national level with some of the best teams in the country. But honestly, I think our guys feel a little disrespected by the ranking. We have beaten 3 teams that are ranked ahead of us currently in the national poll. So the guys are looking forward to the postseason to really having a chance to prove themselves and earn that respect.
The postseason starts Saturday. You host the ODAC Championship on a new course in Buena Vista, which made its debut with the conference preview meet back in September. Tell us about the course.
Well, the course is it's probably a little slightly challenging, but being on a golf course, it does allow for some longer straightaways. The course rolls a little bit. I don't think it's going to produce the fastest times overall, but we're excited for the opportunity to host. We're appreciative of all the help we've gotten from facilities and our staff to be ready for the championships, and we're just overall looking forward to great competition this weekend.
What are the Generals' expectations for the postseason?
Well, just as any year, we really try to get better every week, and we feel like we're doing that right now. Every benchmark that we've set this year, we've achieved, and that's been very positive for the team. We feel like we're in a great place right now. We've challenged ourselves with the schedule we've competed. The first chunk of the postseason is ODAC this weekend. We're looking forward to great competition from there, and then springboarded on to regionals and hopefully November 19th.
Brandon, thanks for joining us. Best of luck at the ODAC Championship this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Joining me now is Charlie Nelson, senior football captain for Reading, Connecticut. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
WNL just downed Hampton-Sydney 52-7. It was the biggest margin of victory ever for the Generals against the Tigers. What led to such a convincing win?
A big factor for that win was the excitement we had around the game. You know, Hampton-Sydney's always a game we have circled on the schedule just because of the rivalry we've had with them over the years. And it's always a game we get really excited about. But another big factor for that win was the, general health of the Generals. We finally had our starting offense back and defense back because we've had a few key guys from last year out throughout the season. So once we finally had both sides of the ball put together, it was a good win for the Jennies.
WNL started off 1-2 against a tough non-conference schedule, but you're now 4-0 in ODAC play. How has the team found its stride in the conference?
I think those 2 losses early on in the season were really good for the Generals. Those are the 2 toughest teams we'll probably play all year in Johns Hopkins and Claremont Mudscripps. And I think those 2 losses really got the team mindset right, and that they really set the tone for what we have to do for the rest of the year.
WNL is once again leading all of college football in rushing yardage. You are one of 7 players on the team with at least 200 yards on the ground. You've also thrown for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Is this the most balanced, maybe the deepest offense that you've been a part of at Washington and Lee?
I think so. I mean, we look across the board about everyone who's been contributing. It's everyone from seniors to freshmen. And we've never had that in my time here at WNL. And I think that really speaks to our recruiting and just kind of player development we've had over the years. And it's not even just on offense. I mean, if you look at the defense side of the ball, you also got freshmen coming in all the time on the D-line and the secondary. I think it's a true testament to the depth we have on the team.
Next up for the Generals is a 6-1 Randolph-Macon team that leads the ODAC in most defensive categories. What do the Generals need to do to maintain their momentum against the Yellow Jackets?
I mean, the big thing we've been stressing all year is just focus and intensity. I mean, if we can stay focused and keep our intensity up throughout the game, no one's been able to stop us when we've done that. But we've had a couple big lapses in some games, and if we know the kind of team Randolph-Macon is, and if we had those kind of lapses, the game could get tricky. But just because the level of play of Randolph-Macon and our momentum coming to this game, I think we'll be ready to go.
Charlie, thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the year.
All right, thanks for having me.
Here with me now is Abigail Stearns, senior swimming captain from Brussels, Belgium. Abigail, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Washington and Lee will look to continue its long reign atop the ODAC this season. You've already won the conference relays and you've beaten Randolph-Macon head-to-head. How pleased have you been with the first two events against ODAC opponents?
We've been very pleased with our performance against the ODAC opponents and really our performance in general. We also had the meet against Louisville. The teams looked very strong this year. From the inter-squad meet on, we've demonstrated strong performance in the pool. The freshman class have continued to surprise us with the skills they brought in, but upperclassmen are demonstrating that they've preserved their training over the summer and have come back ready to tear it up.
Tell us about your journey from the Belgian capital to Lexington, Virginia.
Well, in a lot of ways, my journey from Belgium to Virginia was just another move. I'm a military brat, so I had moved, I lived in 7 different states by the time I finally graduated from high school. So I went through the college application process, and because I was applying from Europe, really I realized the entire country was my oyster. I had lived California to Virginia, Alaska to Florida, had contacts in a bunch of different places, so it was just a matter of choosing where I would be comfortable with my family still living abroad, and that brought me to Virginia. I have family who live up in DC. Washington Lee has a great D3 swim program and obviously amazing academics, and so those were 2 factors that definitely drove me to the school.
Next up for W&L is a dual meet in Pittsburgh on November 12th. You'll face off against 2 very good programs in Carnegie Mellon and Grove City. What will that meet tell you about where the Generals are early in the season?
Well, we do not tend to win the meet against Carnegie Mellon and Grove City, so it'll be a good litmus test to see either how close we come to winning or if we can actually squeak out a victory this year. So based on how well we do in some of the head-to-head competitions, we can see how not only individual swimmers are doing, but how the team as a whole will stack up when we have longer, more intense meet.
What can W&L accomplish in 2016-17?
Well, we can accomplish a lot, but I think one thing that we would all really like to see is sending even more people to nationals. We were very excited to send a relay last year, and so having another relay go or multiple teams or more than just 2 individuals I think would be really great.
Abigail, thanks for joining us. Best of luck throughout the year.
Thank you very much.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. The cross-country teams will host the ODAC Championship in Buena Vista on Saturday morning. The men's race starts at 10 and the women's meet begins at 11. Volleyball will travel to Atlanta for the Emory National Invitational. On Friday, the Generals will take on Berry and Susquehanna, followed on Saturday by matches against Clarkson and the host Eagles. Also Saturday, football looks to continue its unbeaten ODAC run against Randolph-Macon. 3 other teams wrap up the regular season on the road. Field hockey heads to Bridgewater, and men's soccer will also face the Eagles, while women's soccer visits Emory and Henry. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.